Welcome to the Mr. Skin Podcast, your weekly dose of what's new and what's nude in movies, TV, and Hollywood's sexiest stars. Now get ready for your host, the world's foremost authority on celebrity nudity, Mr. Skin.
The legendary Mr. Skin.
Mr. Skin. Dude, Mr. Skin.
MrSkin.com.
Skin, everybody.
Coast to coast from Los Angeles, Chicago, and New York, it's the Mr. Skin Podcast with your hosts, Mr. Skin and Andrea Lowell. We want to hear from you. Call the show and leave us a voicemail at 484-SKIN-POD. Find all things Mr. Skin Podcast online at MrSkinPodcast.com.
Hey everyone, welcome to episode 73 of the Mr. Skin Podcast, sponsored by Stream8.com, the global leader in live streaming, with the hottest porn stars and amateurs broadcasting live directly from their bedroom to yours. Stream8 creates a totally unique and intimate experience where you get to direct the show however you want. With an endless variety of performers, you're sure to find your perfect match on Stream8.com. The question is, are you ready? And Skin, you're always ready.
I am ready. Well, I was just looking. I can't believe we're at the end of November. Thanksgiving's over. We got the next show we do, which, by the way, will be the top 10 nude scenes of the year. I'm very excited about that. But the next show I do will be in December. Can you believe this? Time flies. No. Yeah, time flies when you're looking at great nude scenes. Yeah.
Isn't that the truth, though? Like, totally I think if our subject matter was like something really boring and lame and it was, begrudging for us to do, it would be so horrible. But we're talking titties. We're talking ass. We're talking hot sex scenes and glorious female nudity on the small and big screen. So, of course, time's flying for us.
Well, I should have meant that to say time flies when you're unzipping your fly. Yeah. 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 So anyway, right? It'll be there's a lot to get to, and it's been fun working on the top 10 nude scenes of the year, and I always stress about it because number one, there's so much nudity. That's always tough. The other thing I kind of stress about is that to do my radio promotions, and the last I checked, I had 41 radio shows to go on Skin. Starting next Monday. Yeah, I know. Starting next Monday, I have 41 radio interviews over 2 weeks to promote the top 10 nude scenes of the year. But I'm always worried that there'll be an incredible nude scene late in the year that after I've already made my list. But on the flip side to that is we always have the Anatomy Awards, so all this stuff gets covered. It's just if something comes out December 22nd, for instance, in a movie or television show, I'm already done promoting it, but it doesn't really matter because there's just so much great stuff. The hard part is just squeezing in like 50 incredible nude scenes into a top 10.
Right.
Yes.
Yeah.
So we'll figure it out. But today, Andrea, we got lots of television stuff to talk about as usual. So, like I said, next week will be my my top 10 nude scenes of the year. But today there was some stuff in here that could easily make my list. So it was a really good weekend for nudity. And let me start with Shameless. I know you're a big fan of Shameless.
Yes.
I love
huge fan.
It's fun for me when you're a fan of the show because a lot of this stuff I talk about, you're probably like, you like looking at the nudity, but I also think it's cool when you know the show. So I got to say it's been interesting. I don't know if you've noticed this like I do, but so last night was season 8, episode 4 of Shameless on Showtime. This was the first episode with nudity 4 episodes in, which is really strange for Shameless because they're like one of the all-time great TV series for nudity. And
right.
Yeah, it was kind of weird. But so Lip, Jeremy Allen White, is having a sex dream as he walks through a party with multiple topless women dancing and smoking joints. And he lies down on the couch, and one of them, Alex Ann Wagner, crawls toward him in a seductive way, and he's got wood and the whole thing. And his dream's interrupted by his little brother before anything can happen. But there was like 4 or 5 women. The only one we could identify was Alex Ann Wagner, and she. One of the reasons we knew her is she was. Remember when I told you about that TV series Graves a week or so ago, where Harry Hamlin was with these hot naked girls, and she was one of the 2 that he was with in the hotel room. So we knew her from Graves, but yeah, it's a ton of girls in thongs, topless, natural boobs, fake boobs. You got a whole poopery. But the girl that crawls on the couch seductively is the one we could identify, which is Alexanne Wagner, who was also naked in Graves a couple of weeks ago. So so special shout out to the nameless on Shameless, but still we were able to identify one. And very important, Emmy Rossum did not get naked, though she did wake up in a little white T-shirt, and you can see some nice nips, but nothing nude from her yet. But I know nudity is in our future, Andrea.
I know, and you know what? This dream sequence, even though it's a dream where you know it's fake, it's so hot. And I'm glad you figured out who Alexanne was, because I was like, who is this? She's perfect. She's not only beautiful in the face, but has such an incredible body. And you're right. The way she crawls over and onto him, it's so hot. It's like, why did the dream have to get interrupted? But I'll take what I can get.
Okay. So maybe you could, as someone who's been in movies and television, how do you think it happened that she is nude on 2 TV shows simultaneously? Like, Graves was just out, and now this. Like, is she just on a hot streak for auditions? Like, how did this happen? Because these aren't like huge speaking parts. She just got into these different shows naked within like a week or two. What do you think? Is just she's out there beating the bushes, so to speak, or what's going on?
Well, there's a couple of things. She could know a director. She might have done like a project with someone else, and they know she's fine doing nudity, and so she bypassed the audition process and just got put in the role because they know she looks good naked on camera. Or like you said, she could be doing really well at auditions, because typically you do have to audition for these roles too, because even though a girl will do nudity, or let's say she's even done a Playboy spread or something, they have to see how your body looks on a film camera, because there's no Photoshop, there's no this, that, or the other. So even Playboy Playmates have to audition for things like this. But the fact that she's on 2 at the same time makes me think she probably knows someone, and they just wanted to work with her because they liked working with her before. Because that's typically what happens to me. I don't usually have to audition for stuff. I just get stuff, and it's always like this. Like, naked party goer number 3, you know?
Yeah, well, that's my point. Like, so this Alexanne Wagner, who was one of the girls we could ID in Shameless, so when she shows up for the audition for Shameless or the audition for Graves, does she have to undress in front of everyone? And how does that work? Like, what would her audition be? I'm just curious how that works.
So when you go to an audition, the first thing you do is something called your slate, which is where you say your name, where you're from, who your management is, the best way to contact you. And if you're, sometimes you can get kind of fun. I'm always like, oh, I'm Andrea. I'm from Long Beach. I'm a Capricorn. And
yeah, right. You're fucking around,
stupid shit like that. Just to be a little bit memorable. And then, if there's a line, they'll have you read a line with someone behind the camera, usually the casting director. But in this case, they would say, go ahead and disrobe and either pretend you're dancing or just do a 360 for us. And that's it. It's literally auditions, unless you're auditioning for a lead. They're about 15-30 seconds. Okay. You're in, you're out.
How many girls are in the like interview room in the course of a day for like a scene like what Alexanne Wagner did in Graves or in Shameless? Like, would there be 30 girls trying to get this or more? Like, how does that work for this kind of role?
Yeah, because Shameless is such a huge show, and they obviously, when you look at the girls that they did cast, they're all amazing.
Yeah,
I mean, you have this black girl with the nipple rings, you have the Asian girl with the fake, like, you have it all. I think that they probably saw 100 girls, and they picked these 5. Okay, is what I think.
All right.
Yeah.
So you're the casting director there. You're some guy. 100 hot chicks come in, take their clothes off, and you get to choose 5.
Yeah, pretty much. Right. What a gig.
Yeah.
What a gig.
It's right
like,
up there with my gig. Yeah, it's right up there with my gig.
I know, right?
Yeah. But anyway, so we'll be monitoring Shameless, still one of the best shows in the history of television for nudity. They're in their 8th season, and next week will be their 5th episode of the season. But yeah, so first nudity from Shameless. But Andrea, I've got to talk to you. We got to have a long talk about this, because
it didn't stop there.
Well, let me tell you, I was talking to Joey, my main content guy. We were all in the back. When I always prepare for these podcasts, I got to go. I have to go and watch all these clips from everything that happened Sunday night.
The horror.
Him and I were talking. It was funny because I pulled in my car into the Skin offices, and he was out having a smoke. And I got out of the car. I said, Joey, this girlfriend experience is just is unbelievable what we're seeing. And he goes, yeah, wait till you see all the clips. So we went in today before the show, and I got to tell you, Andrea, there were 3 nude scenes, sex scenes, lesbian scenes on The Girlfriend Experience that all 3 could have won Best Lesbian Scene of the Year. And it's so beautifully filmed and hot. Like, just let me paint a little picture. So Girlfriend Experience is on the Starz Network. I told you last week, Riley Keough was in the first season. She's Elvis Presley's granddaughter. And
I think she's beautiful.
Well, she was beautiful.
I really
and
think
she
she's
did
gorgeous.
some incredible nudity, including a jizz scene and everything. So this is like an NC-17 type series, and it's based on the movie, and Sasha Grey played in the movie, and now this is a TV series based on the movie, but it's an anthology series. So the second season was a completely different cast, and I got to tell you, it's not to get bogged down too much in the storyline, but there's like Anna Friel plays like she's like a Republican strategist, and she's a lesbian, and she has a lesbian girlfriend played by Nargis Rashida, or an ex-girlfriend that she's back hooking up with. But this Louisa Krause, that girl with the incredible nips, Andrea, who is just gonna just walk away with the most niptastic nips for my Anatomy Awards. I can't even imagine anyone coming close to those. But anyway, all these girls are hooking up, and it's really sexy because it's where it's almost like it's like she's a call girl, but not for a rich and powerful guy, but for a powerful woman, and it's extra sexy. So let me just paint a few things. So first of all, Anna Friel, who is 41 years old in real life, is hooking up with her girlfriend, who's roughly in the same age. I don't know her exact age, this Nargis Rashida, but they've broken up. Now they're getting back together. And we were watching this. They were both dressed. I don't think we put the scene up here, but that's fine. We were talking that this was the hottest non-nude scene I've seen this year. So this Nargis Rashida, she treats Anna Friel kind of like rough, like she's the boss type. So they're making out, and they're dressed beautifully in their like business suits and stuff. Nargis goes to Anna Friel, go down on me. She gets on her knees. Nargis is sitting on the couch. She gets on her knees, takes her panties off, and just eats her out while she sits on the couch. So her head's blocking. She's fully dressed. They're both dressed except for the girl has her panties down. Andrea, it was such a hot scene, and you didn't even see anything, which was the amazing. So there's that. Then the scene. I don't know if CP has it here, but there's a scene where, what's her name? Anna Friel takes. So Anna Friel is a client of Louisa Krause. Louisa Krause is the call girl. Louisa Krause is on her knees blowing a guy. Anna Friel is standing behind the guy telling her what to do. She's like, yeah, you would not believe how hot this is. And
that's hot.
Yeah, and the guy, good looking guy, is probably like a model or something. So she's, Louisa Krause is on her knees. Anna Friel's directing traffic from behind. She's going, all right, go down on him. All right, now she tells the guy, now fuck her from behind. She stands up, puts her, and they're in like a high-rise apartment. She puts her face up against the window. He starts banging her from behind. She goes, harder. Then he goes, where do you want me to come? She goes, in her mouth. So she gets back down on her knees and takes the whole load in her mouth. I'm like, holy
Do they show it?
They don't show the load.
Okay.
No, but they show her, like, her face is where his penis would be or whatever. But I'm telling you, it's like this, and it's not like cheaply made stuff. It looks very professional. It's very, very well done. And then, last but not least, after all this happens, Anna Friel, client, and and Louisa Krause, call girl, get in bed and have this incredibly hot lesbian scene where Anna Friel literally sits on Louisa Krause's face, all in the same episode, episode 7 of season 2. I'm telling you, this show is ridiculous. And I was saying last week that, because you could see these pics were shown where Anna Friel's burying in Louisa Krause. I was saying that The Deuce still, to me, is the front runner for best TV show for nudity, but I'm telling you, The Girlfriend Experience is making it's stiff competition, Andrea. It's really tough.
Yeah, I think The Girlfriend Experience, just from my perspective, is better because it's not a show about people making porn. You know what I mean?
Right.
Like, even though this is escorting, it's real sex. It's real this. There's not, there's not directors and producers and lighting people. It's like, this is way more intimate, way more hot. And like you said, the way it's shot, and I think it's kind of based on the premise, this girlfriend experience. Like, this is real life. This is beautiful. This is passionate. This is this, that, or the other. Because it's not just wham, bam, streetwalker.
No.
It's, it's hiring these people.
Right. It's very sexy. Like I said, I was like, oh my God, even in that scene where both the girls had their clothes on, I was like, my God, this is so good. So, and also that Anna Friel, Louisa Krause lesbian scene is eligible for the Cougar Kitten Award because Friel is 10 or 11 years older than Louisa. So we're really excited about the girlfriend experience. So I can't say enough about it. I hope I sold it to people. If you haven't seen it, go to MrSkin.com, check it out, MrSkinPodcast.com also. But really great show. I'm really can't say enough about how the girlfriend experience has been. And by the way, they do 2 episodes a week.
Which is awesome.
Yeah, so in 4 weeks, we're 8 episodes in, and I'm just loving it.
Now it's time for our Cam Star Spotlight of the Week, sponsored by Streammate, the largest live cam platform online. Today, we're joined by Submissive Lexi. How's it going, beautiful?
I am fantastic. Thank you.
Of course. Mr. Skin, you gotta love Submissive Lexi. 5'3", blonde, petite, double D, sometimes an E.
I know. And glasses too sometimes. So, yes.
What made you decide to get into camming, Submissive Lexi?
Well, I always was interested in the porn industry. I honestly fell in love with it, though. My boyfriend and my girlfriend taught me all about it. Before I had started camming, I was a struggling business owner, and then I started camming, and by day 2, I fell in love with it, and I could not get enough of it. It's too much fun doing all the kinky shit that I think of all the time.
Well, take us through that roll call of kink, girl. Tell us about your kink. What do you love to do? What's the kinky stuff you like to get into?
I am an anal slut. I love anal. I love daddy-daughter. I can go for just about anything. I am not picky when it comes to sex. Like, I am just ready to do whatever it is to make my fans happy.
Wow.
I mean, when you have me and Mr. Skin both just say, wow.
Yes.
You know it's good stuff. So when you're doing all this stuff on cam, is it with your boyfriend and your girlfriend? Is it solo? How do you, what are your shows like?
The majority of the time it is solo shows. It's just me. But on occasion, I have my best friend, Aubrey Diamond X, who I actually met at a strip club, and she will do shows with me. And she's just as kinky as I am. Her and I, we do some crazy shit.
I wanted to know, of all those kinky things you just mentioned, what kind of yields the largest tips for you? Is it the anal stuff? Is it the daddy, whatever stuff? Like, what do you feel like the fans really respond to the most?
Double penetration. I've done really well with double penetration shows. I actually had one customer for a 7-minute long double penetration show. He tipped $720 gold for that show, and that was just one customer. It was crazy.
And what does that translate to into cash? Oh, Skin. Can you believe guys are dropping this? I mean, but Skin, what do you think about the DP?
Well, I think you should get out of the podcast business.
I know. Right? I know.
The cam girls are where the money's at.
I know, man. I know. But,
Lexi, for your audience, who do you sometimes when you're out, do people think you look like? Because I'm looking at your picture and I see a little Reese Witherspoon. Do you get that at all?
I've never heard Reese Witherspoon. I've heard a blonde Selena Gomez before.
Oh, that's good too. Yeah.
I hear a lot of different things sometimes.
I mean, that's definitely a good one.
Yeah.
So what's the strangest request you've ever gotten? I mean, because when someone's as open as you are, it's kind of hard to be thrown off or like, oh God, okay, that's weird. But I know you've gotten them.
I have. I'm into almost all fetishes, but I did have one gentleman who asked me to put on skinny jeans and give birth in them, and I did it.
Wait, what? How do you give birth in jeans? And what are you talking about? You stuck a fake baby up your cooch?
I didn't stick anything in my vagina, no. I just got on my back. I put my legs behind my arms, and I stared down like I was having a baby.
Wow.
Okay, you got to give us a sample of what that sounded like. Come on.
God, no.
All right.
I was hard to do straight.
Submissive Lexi, you are something else. I don't know what can even throw you, but our Mr. Skin podcast listeners can definitely head over to stream8.com and try. So I want to thank you, and I want to thank our sponsor, Stream8, where you can interact with Submissive Lexi and thousands of other sexy camp stars, because it's Stream8, everyone. Serious fucking business. Thanks for chatting with us, love.
Thanks, Lexi.
Thank you so much.
Anyway, also, I wanted to talk to you about a new series that came out while we were away. Spike Lee, remember, he did a movie in 1986 called She's Gotta Have It. It's a movie, big 80s movie, one of his earlier works. And he has a new series on Netflix that they released the whole season called She's Gotta Have It. And I think that was his first film, if I'm not mistaken. But based on that movie, he has a new Netflix TV series. And they released the whole first episode. And I got to tell you, it didn't let us down nudity wise. The star or the female lead is DeWanda Wise, and it's like I said, it's based on his 1986 movie, and the series follows her. She plays an artist in Brooklyn who has like 3 different lovers, and then she had about 4 or 5 episodes where she had some really good sex scene. There was even a lesbian scene where DeWanda Wise and this Ilfinish Hedera, who I never, I don't really know too well. They had a girl scene in bed, which you could see in our pics, your prep page, which was, this'll go down as one of the best lesbian scenes of the year. Also, these 2 beautiful black women going down. I thought it was just really, really hot. And then there's a sex scene with DeWanda Wise and this guy where he's holding her, really athletic scene, like he's, how you're banging a girl, but the guy's holding her up. That's really sexy.
Standing.
So yeah, there was a lot of great stuff.
A lot easier watched than done. Have you ever tried that, Skin?
Yeah, there's a time a guy held me up and
no, like you are holding up Mrs. Skin. You know what I mean? It's like it's good for the first like 15 seconds, and it's like, oh, okay,
yeah.
Let's take this to the couch.
Yeah, anytime it becomes anytime sex becomes harder than the actual sex, when it becomes a workout, it gets old. But anyway, so yeah, She's Gotta Have It. Good news show from Netflix, Spike Lee, as far as nudity goes. So we were all over that. So that's out there. And then also Smilf, my show. I'm a big Frankie Shaw fan, and it's not a graphic nudity, but it's still really good. She's in a warehouse with this guy, and Frankie Shaw. This is the 4th episode from last night, and she's banging a guy in the warehouse. He's sitting back. She's on top of him, and it's a very, very hot scene. But you don't see a ton of nudity, but it's still really, really cool.
Yeah, I mean, it's her cute butt, and we get to see her in action on top. I'm all about it.
Yeah, and she's one of my new. She's up there with like Emmy Rossum as far as like she looks like she's as dedicated to her craft as Emmy Rossum is, as far as we could count on her doing some really good nudity. So anyway, so Smilf had some Frankie Shaw stuff last night, and then the other thing I wanted to mention was Outlander, which airs Sunday nights on the Stars Network, and this one was they're in their 3rd season, their 11th episode, and I've talked to you before about Katrina Balfe, who is the star of this show about an army nurse transported back in time from like the 1940s back to the 1700s, which don't ask me how they chose that, but she ended up hooking up with her husband last night, played by Sam Heughan. And by the way, just if you're wondering, the reason his back's all messed up is because he's been beaten and whipped. That's what they did back in the day. If you got a little out of line, so his back's completely gnarly. But Katrina is really hot, and she she showed right breast. She showed full breasts many times on the show, but last night she did a nice sex scene with him and showed some right breast.
You know, my only issue with this show and the nudity is all the scenes kind of look alike.
Yeah.
Like they're always in this same room, it looks like.
Yeah.
The lighting's always the same. We always see his ass and his scarred up, whipped back. Like, I'd like to see them like outside under a tree or, I don't know, just something different.
Yeah.
But it is good. Katrina's beautiful.
Yeah,
she has a good right breast,
girl.
left breast. I mean, she's amazing, but I'm just getting a little bored.
Yeah. Well, it's funny. It's funny. We were talking because even though she only shows right breasts in this scene, you just missed by the camera angle her showing bush because he completely rips down her thing. So
okay, well, this got interesting.
Right. So I know his ass is blocking, but you almost saw bush. So we went back just to double check, but she's only showed breasts and butt, but never bush. So we were hopeful we would get a bush shot, but we tried. Believe me,
a little bush slip.
We slow-mo'd it and everything, and you just don't see it. So anyway, yeah. So Katrina Balfe was naked last night on Outlander season 3 episode 11, and listen, this is one that I'm really excited about, is this Godless, a new series from Netflix, and it's a Western. It's set in the late 19th century in the American West, and it's a Netflix series. They released the whole first episode last week. So, of course, my skin squad went through this whole thing. I guess with all the nudity, we should call this a breastern and not a Western. But it's
that could be a whole new genre, Skin.
Well, let me tell you Jeff Daniels is one of the stars, and he's trying to track his old partner, played by Jack O'Connell, and because Jack O'Connell's betrayed him, and the two men make their way to this mysterious town. It's called La Belle, New Mexico, and it's really cool because the town is inhabited solely by women. So now I'm interested in this series, and so we go through the whole thing, and there is some fantastic nudity as you see, like this Trine Christensen firing a gun, full frontal, big bush. She also rode a horse through the town like a Lady Godiva naked thing. But here's the highlight of this. So there was a lot of nudity in this show, Godless, but we've been waiting forever for Michelle Dockery to make her nude
and
debut.
I was waiting for you to say it.
Yeah.
Yes.
This is big because she was on Downton Abbey. She played Lady Mary Crawley on the series, and I know she won 3 years in a row an Emmy, and I know she won a Golden Globe. Like, she's a big-time actress. She's also currently on a show called Good Behavior on TNT. She plays Letty Raines on that, but she's had some really hot scenes in Good Behavior. They didn't have, nudity in Downton Abbey, technically, but what was exciting is in this Godless, there is a scene where she takes her top off. Now, earlier in the series, she had been attacked. That's why she has that scar on her chest, but that's just a fake scar. But look at those incredible natural boobs. And I knew she would have great boobs, but I didn't know they'd be that great.
I didn't know they'd be this good. Honestly, I knew she'd have a cute, perky rack, but you know how we feel about those up swoopers.
Oh, she's an up swooper for sure.
I mean, they're amazing, and they're so full at the bottom, and they're still perky, and I'm very pleased because they're actually bigger than I thought they'd be.
Yeah.
And I love her.
Isn't she got a beautiful face too? Isn't she have a beautiful face?
Yes,
Were you a Downton
gorgeous.
Abbey girl? Were you a Downton Abbey girl?
Well, do you remember I told you I used to watch it to help me with my insomnia?
Oh, yeah, that's right.
So it put me right to sleep.
There's a lot of people that really dig that show. And we should just do I think we have a playlist of the Downton Abbey girls naked, but there's a lot of the girls from that show, Lily James for one, that have done nudity. And but now Lady Mary showing breasts, but we have not seen Lady Mary's Harry, so we will keep you posted. But really, really great nude debut. This is my favorite celebrity nude debut of 2017, and the show's called Godless, even though it's really about the American, it's like we said, a Western. It's a Western set in the late 19th century, but check it out. It's new from Netflix and loaded with nudity, not just Michelle Dockery. There was some other good stuff.
No, tons. Yeah. And, just based on what I've seen so far, there is on MrSkinPodcast.com, the fact that we're seeing bush on other girls and full nudity on other girls makes me think we may see Lady Mary's Harry, maybe, even if it's a Merkin, maybe. So fingers crossed.
Yeah. Well,
only time will tell.
Listen, let's walk before we run. So
right, but I can still get excited.
Yeah. Anyway, so the show's called Godless, and it's always great when a new show comes out that features some really good nudity. So
absolutely.
Anyway, so I did want to. There's a couple other things that was television stuff. There was a couple other things I wanted to mention. One is a new movie that's out. I was going to talk about this last week, but we got busy and I didn't get to it. But Tulip Fever is out, and it's the guy that the screenwriter from Shakespeare in Love, Tom Stoppard, and then the director of The Other Boy and Girl, put this movie out. I think it came out in theaters about 4 months ago, called Tulip Fever. And I think it's Harvey Weinstein's last movie, if I'm not mistaken. So
awesome.
So I wonder how everyone got their parts, but basically it's a semi-fictionalized account of this famous 17th century Dutch painter, and he's commissioned by this I think Christoph Waltz from the Tarantino movies. He's this wealthy guy who's married to Alicia Vikander, and he gets this Dutch painter to do portrait of her, and of course she's gorgeous. You might remember her. She was in the Danish Girl, Ex Machina, the alien movie, or the artificial intelligence movie, sci-fi movie. Whoa, is she gorgeous. She's done great nudity in each of those, but of course her and the painter fall in love, start having wild sex. But look at those, how you're painting in the 17th century. You're like painting this gorgeous girl nude in this, you're all alone. She's naked the whole day. Eventually, this is bound to happen, right? I mean, how do you stay away from an Alicia Vikander if you're a young painter trying to make a name for yourself?
You don't, right. Skin. You don't. Yeah. It's Alicia Vikander.
Yeah. I don't know, man. I'd be sitting there drawing stick figures, just jerking off behind the thing.
Yeah. You definitely want to extend the session time. Oh, I didn't quite get it. We're gonna have to meet again next week.
Yeah, I'm telling you. But anyway, it came out on VOD last week's 2 week on the 14th. So I've had this for a while. I just didn't get to it in the podcast, but it'll be out on Blu-ray tomorrow, November 28th. If you want to rent it or check it out, it's called Tulip Fever, and really hot sex scenes with Alicia Vikander and this Dane DeHaan who plays the Dutch painter. So check it out. We're really excited about that at MrSkin.com. And I had a couple other things. Wheel of Skin, CP the EP. What we do here is each week he spins the wheel of skin. I, of course, am Pat Sajak. You are?
I am Vadja White.
Vadja White, and this is a Merkin Griffin production. And he spins the wheel. We have over 28,000 actresses at MrSkin.com. He spins the wheel, pulls an actress up, tells me who he chose, and then I'll give you a little rundown on her skinography. So go ahead, CP, spin the wheel. Okay.
And we have Kirsten Dunst.
Ooh.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah, no, this is a good one. Well, where do I start? I think probably being Mary Jane in Spider-Man would be the big place people got to know her. She is, well, I remember that movie came out in 2002 or so, and I remember when she had that pinkish shirt and it got all wet. And
that's what everyone remembers. That's the only thing I remember about that movie, straight up.
Oh my God, because she's
got bombs.
She's got some bombs, and she was nipping out, and it was like in a PG-13 movie. So everyone was dying to see Kirsten Dunst rack after that happened. Well, what happened was with her, and I was starting to think, I remember it's like with Halle Berry when she was like doing the Flintstones and stuff in the 90s. I thought, she is never going to do a nude scene. It's never going to happen. And then finally Monsters Ball, Swordfish, and you know, she started to do some nudity. Well, same with Kirsten Dunst. I started to think, oh my God, I know she has an incredible rack, but we're never going to see it, because she did this Marie Antoinette in 2006, and she was nude, but it was really like, it was just like side boob, little upper butt, but, and it was a tease, and it's like, holy geez, we got to see those boobs. It's never going to happen. Fast forward about 4 years, and she did a movie called All Good Things with Ryan Gosling. And she was in the shower with him. It's a really brief scene. It happens about 43 minutes into the movie. And you did get to see her boobs, even though it was quick. It was like 2 seconds, but it was like, all right, at least we finally got a great look at those boobs.
And that's what freezing the pausing is for.
Yes, that's the whole reason. It's the whole reason. And slow-mo and skin vision and all that other stuff.
Yes, skin vision.
Yes,
skin
very
vision.
important. But then we got so lucky, because about 6 years ago, she did a movie after All Good Things. Kirsten Dunst did a movie called Melancholia, which was a Lars von Trier. Yeah. Just one of his movies are all super weird and crazy, but she did a scene at the hour and 26-minute mark where she is laying completely naked on a riverbank in the grass. You get a full frontal as the camera, sees her laying in the grass, and then a close-up of her D-cup naturals, and I gotta tell you, it was worth the wait. I mean, it was when I first noticed them in Spider-Man in 2002. It took 9 years, but we finally saw her completely naked. The go-to movie for Kirsten Dunst is got to be Melancholia from 2011.
I mean, she does have remarkable boobs, and I hope I'm not offending her at all when I say they're the best part of her body. Like, her boobs are so good.
Oh, yeah. And she's admitted in interviews
remarkable.
that she has great big boobs. Yeah, she's talked about it and stuff.
But they're not just big. You know what I mean? Like, you could have just like big boobs.
Yeah.
And big boobs are so fun and magnificent. But hers are like awesome big boobs. They're just like so full, and they're not saggy, and they have that good swoopy shape, and the color of the areola is pretty, and I don't know, they're
gravity
really
like
good.
Spider-Man. Yeah, no, you're right. You're totally right. You're one of the best describers of boobs that I know, and hers are ridiculous, and
they're magnificent.
Yeah, and she's done things like she popped up on Fargo, a show I love.
Yeah, me too.
Yeah, and anyways,
she's been in tons of stuff.
Yeah, she was really good in Fargo. So I'm like, that's a great Wheel of Skin question from CP, the EP. That is awesome. That was a great one. I get jacked up about a Kirsten Dunst.
I guarantee that we will see more nudity from her. I mean, I think she's like my age. So she's got several more decades to go.
Yeah. She was born in the 80s. So yeah, she's one of you.
Yes.
Anyway.
Yes.
So great, Wheel of Skin question from CP. Kirsten Dunst. I hope you get a good little rundown. Naked in 3 movies, but for sure, Melancholy is the go-to movie to check her out. Just a couple last things I did want to mention from around the web is this. The girls from our where was it? It was a couple of our writers here at the Mr. Skin offices sent me a link to a really cool article that Becky Ann Baker did. I forget what it was. What publication that is. Maybe CP could look it up while I'm talking to you, but it was an article she did about doing her first nude scene when she was 50 years old. I think it was in Lena Dunham's newsletter, the Lenny letter she does. And
I don't know.
She talked about, she's an over 50 actress, and she did her first nude scene a few years back on, in Girls. And she plays Lena Dunham's mom on the show. And I don't know if you remember the scene, if you ever watched Girls, but there was a scene where Lena Dunham's mom and dad, who are, in their way over 50s, were in the shower banging, and then the dad slipped and fell and almost killed himself, and he's nude, and Lena Dunham comes in and has to see her dad's penis and the whole thing. But
geez.
I just wanted to say it was a really cool article because she talked about being 50 years old and saying, screw it, I'm going to do this. And, she's not a model or anything like that. She's definitely an older woman. But if you remember I don't know, like you probably don't remember this, but the guy that played Lena Dunham's dad is Peter Scalori from Bosom Buddies, and it's funny because her mom showed her Bosom Buddies, but it was a really cool article about from Becky M. Baker and what the experience was like. If you haven't seen it, it's at Lena, the Lenny letter, and it's written by Becky M. Baker, and we have obviously have the pics at MrSkin.com. But it was a really cool story, and I thought that was neat that she did that. So
yeah. I'll have to check that out. It seems very interesting.
Well, she's
awesome.
She's like I said, it wasn't ever in contention for best nude scene of the year when it came out, but it was very shocking. Like to see your dad's penis as a girl would be.
I did, and it was. I'm still traumatized.
How old were you?
Maybe like 14.
Yeah.
I walk in. Let me just paint the picture for you.
Let's hear it.
So I think we were traveling. Actually, I know we were traveling, and we were staying at a friend's like mansion up in like the San Francisco area. And it was a really old estate, like didn't have locks on the doors. And my dad, I guess, had just gone out the shower and was in front of the mirror, like shaking his hair out, singing some song from the 50s. And I opened the door, not thinking, and I see it in the reflection of a mirror, and I was mortified.
Yeah, that's I don't know. I didn't mean to step on your story. Keep going.
It's fine. It's fine. I'm like, we can stop talking about it. No, but it was traumatizing. I actually ran. Like it's one of those things where you're like, it's shocking. It's almost terrifying because I think for the most part, women seeing any wiener surprisingly is shocking, and it's not fun. It's scary. And I remember I ran, I found my mom, and I was like, Mom, I saw Dad's wiener.
God. Yeah. That's funny.
And she was like consoling me because she knew how horrible that was to see your dad's wiener.
Yeah,
it's like, it's okay, baby, you'll be fine.
Yeah. I think about that because my daughter's 13, so that I can't
just lock the doors.
Yeah, I don't think I don't know. I think about I can't remember if she's seen me in the last couple of years, but I could, looking at it from a 14-year-old girl standpoint, that's got to be shocking. I know for me, I didn't, I had accidentally seen my mom naked a few times, like every kid, and you kind of remember that for the rest of your life. So
I mean, totally. That was the first and only time I've ever seen my dad in the buff, and I really,
isn't that funny? It's still I was
traumatized.
It's traumatizing. Yeah. It's cool. All right. Well, anyway, Becky M. Baker, who plays Lena Dunham's mom on Girls, did a cool article about her first nude scene. We have that. And, last but not least, there was big news over the weekend. Prince Harry got engaged. Okay. Prince Harry got engaged, and he got engaged to an American, I think she's American, Meghan Markle. Meghan Markle. So you say,
I mean, that sounds like an American name.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. You say, cool. Prince Harry, good for him. What do we know about Meghan Markle? Well, if you search Meghan Markle at MrSkin.com, yes, you will see that she's an actress, not a huge TVography, but she has done some really sexy stuff. Never nude, I should point that out right away. But do you remember a show called Suits? Does that ring a bell with you? Yes. Suits was a show that I think it was on probably from maybe last 2012 to I can't remember how many years it was on, 4 or 5 years it was on the USA Network. Well, she had a gig on that show for a little while where she hooked up with a guy, and did CP post the pics? Because it's not nude, but it's pretty damn hot.
Scenes like this, pictures like this, to me are hotter than nudity sometimes.
Yeah, because it's like the guys, they're just about to have sex, and her legs in the air, and her it's like her her underwear is riding up. It's very, very hot. Like I said, it's technically not nude by our nude standards, but very hot if you haven't seen it. So if you want to see Meghan Markle, who is Prince Harry's new fiance, and by the way, did you know she's mixed race? She's her dad's white and her mom is African American, so that's why she's a really beautiful, exotic.
She's gorgeous.
Yeah, good for Prince Harry, but think of how her life's going to change.
Dude, think about how hot their kids are going to be.
No,
you got a ginger, and then
you go ginger, black, white, and
that's going to be very pretty kid.
And I can tell you that the searches to the Meghan Markle page at MrSkin.com just went up huge over the weekend. So anyway, yeah, so she has been in a couple of things, but the scenes in suits in her underwear and the scene with this guy were not nude. But definitely,
I wonder what the Queen has to say about that.
Yeah, the Queen might have to. I might have to get the Queen a password.
I can't even imagine.
Yeah.
It's like, I can't even. That's funny. Oh my God. If you sent Queen Elizabeth a fucking password.
Yeah, I know. I know.
We got it just to see what happens, if there's even a response. But it's like, when I look at women like that, like the Queen, with like that prune face, like that, it's like hard to imagine people like her ever even had sex. You know what I mean? But they have, because they have offspring.
Well, yeah, you should see The Crown. If you watch The Crown, a cool show, I think it's on Amazon or Netflix. It is all about the Queen, and she did have some great sex. I don't think since she's hit her 90s, she's been doing much, but yeah, she had some great sex back in the day.
When you're the Queen, it's like you better be boning into the 90s. It's like, you know what I'm saying?
That's tough, but yeah, you could break a hip. But yeah, it's a great show, The Crown. But anyway, so Prince Harry's fiancée, Meghan Markle, is at Mr. Skin from some earlier work she did, and now she's going to be bigger than big. She'll be super famous, so I'm sure she'll be searched a lot at our website over the coming months and years, so we'll see.
Yeah, I had no idea who she was until right this moment.
Yeah, well,
so
exactly.
Thank you for enlightening me as well.
I can easily show you on our website, like we could tell all 28,000 actresses and who's been searched. And it's funny to see all of a sudden a spike. Like you see a name and it's like, why is that all of a sudden? And then you see they're in the news or there's some big story somewhere and people are linking to our website. But yeah, so Meghan Markle will definitely see a rise in her traffic. But anyway, Andrea, so next week, be ready. We got the top 10 nude scenes of 2017, and as you can imagine, it's going to be a good list. It's
going to be awesome. Yeah. I mean, the stuff we've talked about over the last year has been off the chain, through the roof, remarkable. So I am super excited for what you have in store for me and the listeners next week.
Yes.
It's going to be nothing short of epic.
Yes, and I'll try to have you describe each of the boobs in the 10 best nude scenes of the year, because you're so good at describing breasts. Like you're just an artist when it comes to describing boobs. So.
Oh, Mr. Skin, you just warmed my heart.
But anyway, yes.
Well, that was so much fun. And it would be my honor to describe every breast, nipple, and areola that we come across in next week's episode, and every episode for that matter. But I just want to say, episode 73, man, this was good. I'm just so happy because finally, 4 episodes in, and Shameless showed the TNA. I was getting a little worried. I'm getting a little worried. And if any listener to the Mr. Skin podcast has no idea how awesome Kirsten Dunst's bumps are, you got to check out Melancholia on MrSkin.com. Yes. They are fucking epic.
Yeah, hour and 26 minutes in. Thank you. Yeah.
And just finally, a little PSA to the fathers out there. If you have kids older than infants, lock the damn bathroom door as you're drying off in the buff. Dad wieners can traumatize.
Okay,
right.
Good to know.
I got it out.
Good to know. As a dad of 2 girls, I got to know that. So thank you.
All right, that was so much fun. Episode 73, everyone, and we'll see you next week.
See you, Andrea.
This concludes another scintillating episode of the Mr. Skin Podcast. Subscribe to the Mr. Skin Podcast in iTunes and never miss a show. Thanks for listening.